How to learn Japanese fast? Although I'm a native speaker, I got asked this question many times before. I have helped students learn Japanese by teaching in my college Japanese class as a tutor, and I was also teaching in my private lessons. That taught me some of the misconceptions people have when it comes to learning Japanese. Since I don't want you to make the same mistakes and take unnecessary time to be fluent, I will talk about mistakes to avoid in order to learn Japanese fast. I made language learning videos in the past, so I'm not going into that topic in general, but I'd rather talk about Japanese specific learning tips in this video. On this channel, I share insights from my experiences, books, and research, everything I have learned and continue to learn. So if you're interested in growth, creativity, and new perspectives, consider subscribing. Japanese is widely considered one of the most difficult languages in the world, so it's important to approach it with a long-term mindset. So this is especially true if you aim to reach native level proficiency. Japanese uses 3 different writing systems and has grammar structures quite different from English. Rather than expecting perfection, it is good to focus on making steady progress towards your milestones. That also make it important to not to let yourself down in the short-term results. Being motivated and find friends and find group of people who are learning Japanese and share your thoughts and experiences. It's gonna be difficult, it's gonna be long-term, but what you get as a reward from learning this language is very interesting and very unique experience. So I do think it's worth spending time and effort on this language, but it's important to know that it's not the easy journey. Being perfect on Japanese language is very difficult, and even for Japanese, it's difficult language. We sometimes make mistake, and although you are already working and you're adult, or you're in like late or mid-age or something, and you still make mistake and you learn new things, or like you were saying something wrong way for a long time or the whole life, and you notice that later in life or something like that. That's also pretty common, and there's no perfection. You will always learn new things and you will keep learning. You want to enjoy the process. It's important to focus on the milestone instead of being perfect on this language. It's crucial to understand the cultural difference to study Japanese, such as the tendency to prefer indirect communication and uses of honorific like san, kun, chan. That changes depending on the relationships and occasions. The body language is also an important part of the culture. Bowing, nodding, and subtle cues are part of communication. And some phrases don't translate directly from English to Japanese, like yoroshiku onegai shimasu, which does not have equal English translation. When you are starting to learn Japanese, you want to start with Hiragana, Katakana, the Japanese alphabets. Hiragana is the main script, while Katakana is used for foreign words mainly. Writing practice is key, so you want to repeat many times until it feels natural to you. One thing you want to avoid is to use Roman letters. It hinders the understanding and takes more time if you use it every time. So beginners often rely too much on Romaji, which is a Latin alphabet, which can harm pronunciation. So start with Romaji if needed, but transition to Hiragana and Katakana quickly. Many texts provide furigana, like hiragana on top of kanji, to help you with reading. So when you can't read kanji, you can read hiragana on top of kanji to understand. You can probably understand some of the things by sound, although you can't read kanji. So understanding hiragana and katakana first really helps you understand a lot of Japanese, and learning kanji is necessary for casual conversation or understanding anime, but if you want to reach native level, learning kanji is unavoidable. When it comes to grammar, there are several points you want to keep in mind. For example, English grammar usually follow subject, verb, object. Japanese grammar follow subject, object, verb. So when you want to say I eat sushi, 私は寿司を食べます. It is I sushi eat. So grammar in Japanese is completely different from English. So you want to know that going in, you can't think from how you would be structuring a sentence in English. Another thing is that particles are the key of understanding the meaning of sentence. So they are like wa, ga, wo, ni. You want to learn surely these particles to create a sentence. Pronunciation is easier than English. Fewer sounds, but pitch, accent matters. So intonation is important. Words like hashi means chopsticks, bridge, or edge, depending on the pitch. And also politeness level is also an important part of the language. Casual versus polite speech, des, mas versus da, ru, changes how you talk to different people. And the Keigo, honorific language, another part of the language you want to master if your goal is to use the language in an academic or business setting. If you could start with learning the core parts of the sentences, more casual tone, and you don't need to worry too much about it. Honorific language can be learned later since it only requires minor adjustment, not a major change in the grammar. It is so important to have exposure to Japanese that are used on a daily basis. I often see a natural language in textbooks and also language apps. If you speak English as a second language, probably you later on learn that learning some of the sentences at the beginning of your school textbook had unpractical sentences that nobody says in real life. So you want to get exposure to Japanese that are actually used through probably series like media, movies, or meeting people if you could come to Japan. But it's really important to get involved in natural Japanese. You don't want to talk like anime unless that's your aim. I'm not sure. Some people talk like they are in anime, and that is an interesting experience. If your aim is to speak Japanese naturally, it's not probably the best place to learn Japanese completely. The best way to learn is immersion experience. So after you got used to more passive immersion, which is by consuming media, you want to invest more in active immersion experience, which means to try to use the language or interactive with Japanese, find online tutor, and try out your Japanese. Get to know little by little how are they talking and how are they using the language in a specific context. As I said, Japanese has a lot of cultural nuances, phrases that you only understand once you understand Japanese culture, especially if you're coming from a completely different part of the world. I'm not sure where you're from, but if you are, it's very important to immerse in the culture to understand the language. I learned Spanish and Mexican culture. Language, of course, is something living and has history and makes culture. I know their culture because I was living there and really spending time with them and being part of Mexican family. Beautiful experience that taught me the language as well as nuances, what they actually mean when they say something. How you use the sentence is more important than just learning the specific sentence. I hope this video is helpful for you, and I wish you the best for your Japanese learning journey, and I hope I can be more helpful in this topic in the future. So if you have any topics and aspects of learning Japanese you would like to know, please let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.